Next thing I want to show quick is the idea of a selection. So we've looked at selections before. We've got this magic wand tool that can select things, and it has a tolerance that we can use. Now, the problem here is that all the other trails appear blue except for James Trail and the Tower Trail coming down there. And that makes this key on the side kind of useless in this version of the image. Let's make this a little bigger and then zoom in a little more. If I try to select with the magic wand the green, it's a little disconnected, and so the computer's going to have a hard time doing that. Now I could change the tolerance, but because the blue is a dotted line, I'm probably never going to be able to do that. And so I could spend all day using Control to subtract things off and Shift to add things to the selection, and I might never get quite the right selection. And that's where masks come in. So when I use masks, I usually make a duplicate layer for the mask. So first thing I'm going to do is click the duplicate layer. I thought that was here. Oh, it must be up here. Layers, duplicate layer. So I just made a copy of it. So I have this background that's locked, and I have this duplicate sitting on top of it. So just to note that's the case, if I were to take a paintbrush right now and start painting on this, let's see what happened. Probably selection issue. Edit, deselect all. There we go. Okay, so it looks like I just damaged my image, and sort of. I painted on this copy that I made. So if I turn off the copy from being visible, you can see the original background is untouched because I was actively in the upper layer. So I should probably give that a better name. So let's call it upper layer right now. All right, and let's put it back in. And then let's undo that paintbrush. So what I'm going to do is I want to make a layer mask here. So it's one of these buttons down here, I think. There it is, add layer mask. And what that does is it puts basically a transparent film over it. And so then I can select part of the image to do something different with without affecting the rest of it. So it's like a selection, but it's adjustable. So let's see. Let's go with a 20. Yeah, I think I like that one. So what I want to do is I just want to select James Trail here, for example. And so I'm going to paint over it with black, which appears green on the screen right now. And the nice thing about this is I can go back and forth in the selection between painting on it and erasing what I just painted. So what did I do? Let's unlock the back layer to see. So if I turn off the back layer, you can see that the mask put a layer of transparency over the copy of the image that was visible a minute ago. And by painting in black on the mask, I'm then making visible some of that second layer. And you see I got some of the blue stuff here. So then I am going to get my eraser here, and I can just kind of clean up on the edge. Oops, I'm on the wrong layer. Did it do anything? Maybe. Let's go back. That's another thing you got to be careful of. Which layer you're working in. So I can clean up where that blue is. I don't want that. And you'll often have to switch brush sizes to make this happen, right? And maybe you need even to zoom in more to make this happen. So a layer is a reusable selection is what you can think of it as. As I switch back and forth between the paintbrush tool to make something visible and the eraser tool to make it invisible. Maybe I want to see the word James Trail too. And I got more of that blue accidentally down here. Let's change the eraser size to a hard 20. So I'm just clicking on it here to erase in little pieces. All right, so let's suppose I like my selection now. So then what I can do is apply some kind of effect to it. So for example, I might want to adjust the color balance. And I want to offset the red and green. So I can make part of it stand out a little bit different. And so now if I make the underlayer visible again, now James Trail stands out. And so I could do that for each of these by making a mask for them. So suppose I wanted to edit that trail there, I would just add another. So go back to layer 0, my original, make a copy of it, and then turn that copy into a mask. So I would give it a better name, like right side trail, or maybe that's Evans trail, whatever it's called, and then add a mask to it. So if I turn off the bottom layer, we can see that's visible in that layer. Turn off that one, it looks like this is invisible, but it's really hiding a version of this right here. And then I could go in here and work on this trail. And so now I'm in a different layer. So if I want to see what I just exposed, and again, this is why I make a duplicate layer all the time. Let's see, turn that off, and I can see what part of the exposed trail I just did right there. So 2 versions of it helps. One background version that remains untouched. And again, I'm not editing actually the image in this layer. I just have a mask sitting on top of it, and it's the mask. It's kind of like using masking tape in your house when you're painting. I'm adding tape and removing tape. So basically, I taped off everything. Now I'm removing some tape to expose some of the under stuff. And I can turn off the bottom layer to see what I've exposed. And then I can use the eraser if I want to adjust any of it. And then I can do whatever I want to this. So again, I could go back to adjustments. And maybe I want to play with the hue and saturation. So hue will change the color. And so now I can bring that back in. There we go. So by making different masks, I can have different effects on each part, but each one would have to be its own layer with a mask. Masks are super powerful once you get the hang of them. All right, I think that's good for now. I've demonstrated some of the things you're going to play with. There's lots of videos already out there for everything you need, and they're all located inside of these tutorial pages. Down, come on. Here. So have fun, stay in touch, do good computer stuff. I'll catch you later.